Hello, Ganesha. Thank you for
Hello.
coming to the Layer 2 show. Welcome. So Ganesha is from Harmony. Ganesha, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure, Agne. Thanks for inviting me to this show. Hello, everyone. My name is Ganesha Upadhyaya. I'm a lead researcher and engineer at Harmony Protocol. I work on building Harmony Protocol and its ecosystem. More recently, I'm leading Harmony's interoperability efforts by basically building bridges to connect Harmony with other blockchain ecosystems like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Binance Smart Chain, etc. I come from non-blockchain background before starting my journey at Harmony back in mid 2019. I did my PhD in computer science, specializing in compilers and programming languages. I also worked at different industries like Huawei, SAP, Amazon, HP prior to joining Harmony, where I basically build solutions in the domain of mobile, cloud, and IoT systems. That's about me.
Very interesting. So how did you get excited and when about the blockchain technology and crypto? When was the turning point?
It's about early like 2019, where when I was working at Huawei, I was introduced to verifying blockchain programming language, mainly Solidity. I was trying to perform some program analysis to find security vulnerabilities, etc. At that time, I got fascinated towards like the blockchain and how the language aspect of the blockchain. And later, after I joined Harmony, I get to like kind of a deep dive into even developing a blockchain system.
I understand. So Harmony operates on blockchains, provides with a layer 2 solution. From what I understand, it's quite decentralized. You have 1,000 validators. So can you tell us more about what is special about Harmony?
Sure. Harmony actually is a layer 1 blockchain, just like Ethereum, with a decentralized network of 1,000 validating nodes. And it's a sharded blockchain, and it also runs a proof of stake mechanism. Harmony blockchain has been up and running from mid 2019, and we introduced the open staking back in May 2020. So it's about like more than over 2 years old project. Like Ethereum, Harmony is also a smart contract platform with the dApps developed majorly in Solidity language. And Harmony is also like a Ethereum virtual machine or EVM compatible blockchain, where users and developers can use all the nice Ethereum toolings like MetaMask, Web3, etc. directly while developing or porting applications on Harmony. Coming to like what is special about Harmony is that it's a 2-second block time and transaction finality time. So transactions get confirmed within 2 seconds. And also Harmony provides a very cheap transaction fees, where you can literally run like hundreds, if not 1,000 transactions under a cent. That's like a key about Harmony. And with respect to Harmony's L2 offering, it's a trustless bridge to Ethereum, which allows users and developers to use Harmony in an efficient L2 solution to Ethereum. That's where Harmony shines as a L2 solution to Ethereum or any other layer 1 blockchain.
Okay, so what was the most important for you when you were constructing the solutions? Was it transaction speed or gas prices, or you were focusing on specific applications?
Yeah, we looked at several key priorities. Mainly, if I have to list, there are 4. The first thing being is a censorship resistance, entry and exit from L1 to and from L2. Here, like L1 being Ethereum and Harmony, you can consider as acting as L2, where we want any users who have asset in Ethereum, let's say, want to participate in Harmony DeFi, they should be able to kind of freely bring their assets to Harmony, use the dApps on Harmony, and safely return back to Ethereum. So there shouldn't be any like censorship going on when you provide a L2 solution to Ethereum. So that was our key criteria. Apart from that, the second criteria we considered is a trustless bridge for users to move their asset back and forth between Harmony and Ethereum. So when users are trying to like move their assets from Ethereum to Harmony, there should not be any like intermediaries that act as custodians of users' assets. So even for a small period of time, we don't want introduce any intermediaries. So our goal was to like users only need to trust the blockchains that they are trying to bridge between, like Ethereum and Harmony, to safely move their asset back and forth. So in terms of how this is achieved is by utilizing the smart contract platform on either side of the blockchain. Both Ethereum and Harmony provides a very nice smart contract platform. So that's where we are able to verify the transactions between each other using the smart contracts. So there is basically only smart contracts are custodians of users' assets, and there is no other custodian. And that's also the third key criteria that we considered, like you mentioned, is keeping the cost to move back and forth between Ethereum and Harmony cheap, and also the wait time, which is also known as like withdrawal or exit time in the L2 terminology. So when users move their assets like back and forth between Ethereum and Harmony, the cost involved in making sure that the bridge smart contracts on Ethereum knows about what is happening on the Harmony side, and at the same time, the bridge smart contract on Harmony that knows what is happening on the Ethereum side. So that incurs the cost. So this information sharing or routing is basically adds a lot to the cost, especially on the Ethereum side when the gas price is too high. So we have managed to kind of build a bridge solution that can still keep the cost very low. With respect to withdrawal time, like if you have learned the L2 solution, withdrawal time or wait time or exit time is kind of another key property where it is time that users have to wait to move their asset back from L2 to L1. So this time usually varies from anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour to even 7 to 15 days in terms of like optimistic L2 solutions, right? So in our trustless bridge, we kind of like adopted more like a dynamic approach where wait time is subjected to demand, meaning that when there are more users, more demand to go from Harmony to Ethereum, both the cost and withdrawal time kind of reduces to very low values. For example, $10 to $20 to in terms of cost, and 5 to 10 minutes in terms of like how fast the users can go back and forth between L2 Harmony and L1 Ethereum. So finally, the major key criteria is also providing a strong decentralized L2 network for Ethereum that has like 2-second transaction finality and also cheap transaction fees. Of course, like this is goes without saying that any L2 that supports Ethereum must provide a kind of fast and cheap transactions, right? Either by rollup or any other mechanism. But for doing that, L2s cannot sacrifice its security or decentralization, right? That's a major aspect. So in this, especially applies to sidechain based L2 solutions like Harmony that don't necessarily make the data available or push the transactions to the base layer or Ethereum. So Harmony network itself is like a strong, safe L2 home for Ethereum users, where it kind of like decentralized with the 1,000 validating nodes. So these are the like 4 key criteria that we considered when we kind of like proposed the Harmony as a L2 solution for Ethereum.
Okay, so it's very interesting. People are thinking about layer 2 right now with regards to gas costs on layer 1, but what happens when layer 1, when Ethereum mainnet gets 100 times more users? Then on layer 2, obviously also the prices will increase. So we're only at the beginning of our scaling journey in Ethereum.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Gas price is such an important issue. Can you walk us through the process of what is happening to gas prices on Harmony when confirming the transactions?
Definitely. So before I talk about like what adds to low transaction fees on Harmony, let's just consider why transactions are confirmed fast. To begin with, like Harmony, as like I mentioned, has an instant finality where transaction gets included in a block and the block itself is included in the chain, then the transaction instantly confirmed. There is no additional wait time or a fork choice rule that we adopt in our consensus. So we were able to achieve this basically by enforcing a strict Byzantine consensus mechanism, where every block that includes the transactions must be signed by at least 66% out, 2/3 of the validators. So 2/3 out of 250 per shard have to kind of agree on certain blocks to kind of include it in the chain. So as soon as they agree, a transaction gets confirmed. There is no requirement of waiting for several future blocks to make the transaction confirmed. So that is with respect to transaction confirmation. Second point is that Harmony's fixed block reward for its validators. So which is like 7 Harmony 1 tokens. Every block is issued to validators who sign the block. So this kind of makes it uninfluential for validators to pick higher gas price transactions. Because anyway, there is no incentive for them to pick the higher ones, and they get paid in a fixed block rate manner. So that's where like the second like major criteria that still keeps the transaction fees low. And also note that like all transaction fees for the transactions that were included in the block are instantly burned every block. And finally, like Harmony's horizontal scaling architecture, or in other words, sharding, allows us to keep spreading the demand across shards to keep the transactions lower, even when the Harmony has to support, let's say, a load of Ethereum or even higher, like few thousands of transactions per second. Even in those cases, you don't have to keep on stressing a single shard, where you can kind of spread the transaction across different shards and scale horizontally. Like more demand, you'll be able to scale, theoretically, you'll be able to scale horizontally by adding more and more shards. So in the same manner, like Ethereum has gone with this sharding architecture to kind of thinking about like future scaling of blockchain. So these three things kind of contributes to why the transaction fees are low, and how in future they will still remain kind of manageably low.
I understand. You mentioned about incentives. So at this point, you mentioned about incentives for those who are confirming the transactions. What about the incentives for the users to use Harmony? Do you do any incentive programs?
Yes. I mean, if I had to consider users, mostly developers as well as the end users like traders, right? If I had to tell for developers, there's already kind of lucrative incentive where transactions are pretty fast, 2-second transaction finality and cheap fees. Beyond that, it's also kind of EVM compatible, allows developers from Ethereum to not having to go through a new learning curve, where they're able to use the same set of Web3 tools that they are well aware of. So that's one non-monetary incentive. I believe this is a great incentive because like Web3 developers have already put in so much effort in learning Web3 tooling, Solidity language, etc. So any new blockchain should not increase this learning load on the developers. So apart from these non-monetary incentives, we also have a lot of, we are able to attract a lot of developers via bounties and hackathons. So we are currently running $1 million prize hackathon that started mid-August and goes on until end of September. And it's already able to attract like thousands of developers. There are various tracks related to, let's say, DeFi, NFT, gaming, DAO, wallet, cross-chain, cross-border, etc. Like for developers, they can choose to build application on any of these tracks or themes and kind of win great prizes, close to or even more than $1 million. We have been able to run like several of these hackathons to keep on attracting more and more developers with partnership with the Gitcoin. And we also continuously publish a lot of bounties for developers to participate and contribute to our ecosystem code base throughout like any time. Like we plan, like we already have like hundreds of bounties that are completed, and we plan to roll out even thousands of bounties so that there is more and more developers who can participate. And we also plan to like kind of spend $1 million on the bounties going forward within the span of from almost mid of this year to next mid-year. So with respect to users, how many, again, cheap fees, fast transaction times are already incentives. Apart from that, we were able to attract key DeFi partners like SushiSwap, using which we are able to kind of run incentivized farming opportunities for users. We recently ran like few $1 million DeFi farming opportunity with SushiSwap for users, and we saw SushiSwap already surpassed like 100 million in TVL within few weeks of time. So similarly, in future, we plan to bring in lots of other DeFi major players and products, and run several incentive mechanisms. And we also seen a lot of traction with respect to NFTs on how many via DaVinci platform, where users are able to mint like thousands, even hundreds of arts at like almost zero cost. So which is like super successful. And also there we provide kind of a bridge for users to move their NFTs across Ethereum and other ecosystems. So those are like kind of incentives for users and developers.
Very good, very useful. So I'll make sure that we provide with the link below this YouTube video so that our listeners can find more about your hackathon and find out how to apply. And with regards to incentives, so it feels like it might be a layer to incentive war when Arbitrum is launching, Optimism is launching quite soon. What is your view of the current layer 2 ecosystem?
Yeah, it's growing substantially. Like there are several solutions with Optimism, Arbitrum gaining a lot of traction, and also like Polygon, commit chain, side chain kind of layer 2 solutions also doing pretty well. Traditionally, like L2 solutions are categorized based on like data availability, meaning whether they make the L2 transactions available on for anyone to verify on the base layer or L1. And also what kind of withdrawal mechanism that they support for their users to exit from L2 to L1, meaning whether they fully verify L2 transactions before allowing users to exit, or they take more of like an optimistic approach where they allow a time window where anyone can dispute L2's transactions. So depending on like these two criteria, various solutions are kind of put into 4 quadrants, whether they allow data availability, whether keep the data on chain, off chain, or whether they use validity mechanisms like zero knowledge proof, or they use optimistic approaches. So apart from this traditional categorization, of course, these are important. We have also seen a lot of side chain or commit chain kind of based L2 solution. For example, Harmony, another example, Polygon, another example is Solana also has kind of a bridge to Ethereum. Avalanche has bridge to Ethereum. So basically, these kind of L2 solutions provide bridges with the strong enough L2 network to take some load off Ethereum. So again, although they gain popularity, what is important is that these side chains, which are L2 solutions, must provide strongly decentralized network. That is a proven kind of free from security vulnerabilities and so on. At the same time, along with security, they also must provide like smooth, cost efficient, time efficient, trustless bridges to go back and forth between the base layer and the side chain. So those are the 2 criteria. In my opinion, any strong L1 blockchain is kind of L2 for some other L1s. So in this context, it's basically like a Harmony being itself is a L1 solution, but we can think of it as like it's an L2 solution for some other L1, which is Ethereum. So in future, Harmony can be an L2 solution for Solana, or Harmony can be an L2 solution for Cardano, and so on. So all these like layer 1s act as layer 2s for some other layer 1s, only if they can provide a strong enough network, at the same time provide a more trustless, cost efficient, time efficient bridging solution between the networks. So if they meet these 2 criteria, they can be considered as layer 2s. Of course, it depends. All depends on what is the security assumptions, security requirements these solutions make. Optimistic, all the Arbitrum kind of well-known solutions are concentrating on only supporting as a layer 2, but the sidechains are more like themselves are layer 1s, but can also support layer 2
I see.
functionality.
From what you're saying, it's quite important concept of interoperability that we're facing right now. So it might be many solutions, but it's very important so that they can communicate with each other. And that is why you mentioned that Harmony is EVM compatible, which is crucial. So what is next for Harmony? What is exciting cooking?
Definitely, lots of cool things happening. Initially, like we set forth this year with basically two major goals. One is decentralize everything about Harmony, and second is adoption. With respect to decentralization, we already, as I mentioned, Harmony is a network of 1,000 validating nodes in which 200 of those nodes are run by Harmony Foundation. So by end of this year, we plan to kind of fully let our community run all the 1,000 nodes, and Harmony will have no running nodes basically. Apart from network decentralization, we also want to kind of have more and more DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. That is a way of kind of decentralizing everything, right? Like the process. For example, we already spinned up several DAOs, like Validator DAO, to manage the network upgrades, so that the validators themselves identify what is important with respect to network for Harmony. And we also spinned up Community DAO that drive Harmony's progress. And we are more and more DAOs coming in the future, where we plan to like spend $1 million again, if not more than million, to spin up hundreds of DAOs. And kind of like set forth a strong community-driven framework to fully scale Harmony's future. So that's where we're going with the decentralized everything kind of theme. On the second front, with respect to adoption, we want to bring, as I mentioned, major DeFi products onto Harmony. Via SushiSwap, we were able to kind of demonstrate how easy and how DeFi apps can flourish on Harmony. So similarly, we want to bring more and more players in the lending, borrow domains, and so on. We also want to continue building bridges to major blockchains. We already have bridges to Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Terra, Polkadot. We are working towards building or completing bridges to other chains like Bitcoin, which is going to be major, Cosmos and Solana, and so on. The only way is to like interconnect all the blockchains so that we can maximize the benefit for end users, irrespective of one ecosystem. And finally, we are working on incubating many more DeFi and other projects in the space of DeFi, NFT, games, cross-chain, cross-border. There's basically no limitation. Like we want to keep on run something similar to like incubation DAOs, and kind of with generous funding, we want to encourage more and more builders to launch on Harmony and flourish, basically. So going forward, we will see more and more announcement with respect to these fronts, where our theme would be like adoption, adoption, and adoption.
Very cool. Exciting times.
Yes.
Harmony and for the whole crypto industry as a whole. Definitely. Yep. Although some people are talking bear and bull markets, we can see that so many technical developments happening behind the scenes. So it's great time to be here.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you very much, Ganesha. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And
same here.
Let's provide the links to our listeners and viewers to the hackathon and all information about Harmony.
Definitely. Thanks for inviting. It was
Thank you very
nice
much.
talking to you. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.